Hello everyone, Mary the Psychic Shaman here, and today it is New Year's Eve. Yay! So excited! Get to get rid of this decade and start with a new one. And today I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about what we can do. And we can do this any time of the year, but this is a wonderful time to do it. So for using our intuition, I like adding these videos or these types of write-ups on our Intuition Tuesdays in our Facebook page and group. And what we're going to do this time today is we're going to do free writing, channeled writing, depending on what forces you're calling in. This could all be your higher self, and it also could be asking guidance from if you follow a certain god or goddess, or even asking one of your guides to help you with channeling a message. So what we're doing is we're going to do automatic writing, channeled writing, for each month. Now, I wouldn't suggest doing more than a couple of months, because it does get kind of draining. So what you will need is some form. Well, you're obviously going to need pen and paper. I would not suggest a computer. It's easier I find it's a lot easier doing channeled writing to do it with pen and paper or pencil. And I actually don't even look when I'm writing, so it's pretty messy. So it's definitely easier. Unless you're an avid typer, that might work well too. You'd have to try it out. So for today, again, we're going to talk a bit about channeled writing, automatic writing for intuiting what, say, January. We'll start on January, what January has in store for you. And what I do, now there's a couple of different things you can do. So what I would suggest, you don't need to open Sacred Space and do all that. I would suggest just opening your, doing breathing and opening your circle up, the breathing and pulling in. Do that a couple times to center and ground yourself. And now I use, this is for a class that I'm taking for a Hecatean class, witchcraft class, but I use a Strophalos. And what I've done with this Strophalos is I have changed it into, it's also like my Wheel of the Year, and it has each month. I don't know if you can see. Whoa. Doesn't really show up that well. Nope. Anyhow, each of these sections is a month. And so what I will do, and I have different channeling items to use for doing this kind of journeying, and I will set my object on that month. And you don't even need to do it the way I do it. It's really just a way of setting my intention. So you can have even a Wheel of the Year card, from a tarot deck. You can have, let's see, what else do I have here? This is from actually one of my tarot books as well. Another Wheel of the Year type of thing. You can have a calendar, or you can just write out January, and that's where you're going. Now, hold on a second. Now, it depends on how you are for getting in that altered state. I will do this for a little bit after my breathing to get in that state. I also will make sure that my intention is set. So I state, I am journeying into the Strophalos, or the Wheel of the Year, into the month of January. My intention is to channel and get guidance and a little insight into what my January will entail. Now, I have a hawk that assists me when I do any death walking or psychopomp work, but also any time travel work. So I will ask my hawk to assist me, to guide me, so that I can go into the future, into January. And what I want to do is channel messages from that time. Now, if you follow any gods or goddesses, you can ask him or her to channel the messages through you. Now, if you don't, you can just ask your guides. Any guides, will you please channel through me the messages for the month of January for me? Now, what I did, because I am in this Hecatean witchcraft class, and part of it is my homework as well for doing some of this time traveling, is I've asked Hecate to assist me. So I'll ask, when I go in, my intention I set, Hawk, please guide me so that we may get some messages from the month of January ahead. Hecate, please channel through me the messages that will assist me in getting through my month of January. And then I will do this to get myself into that state of mind. And usually I only do this for a little bit. Sometimes I don't have to. Depends on how relaxed I am. And then I will close my eyes with my pen or pencil and paper. And sometimes I close my eyes. Sometimes I just stare off into space and at the wall, and I just start writing whatever comes to me. And you'll notice the difference between like your monkey mind type of thing, or and when you're actually channeling messages from your gods, goddesses, your guide, or even your higher self. You will notice the difference. And you can ask questions too. So you just write right away, and then ask, what is the most important aspect of this month that I need to know? Or is there a keyword that I should be focusing on? And that helps. And you might get some weird stuff to come in too. I got apples for my January, so I'm not quite sure what that means. Maybe I should eat some more apples. But you can get some pretty amazing insight. And you can do this before each month. I went ahead and did January, February, March, and I did that because I had a message in January that also related to March. So that's why I went with a 3. But it does get exhausting to channel like that. So but you can do it every month, write it down, see what comes through, at the end of that month. Look at your notes. How accurate were they? Did you change something? So this is a big intuition exercise as well. So what you're doing is not only getting great information, but you're also checking to see how accurate it was. And even if something isn't accurate, say it changed. It could be that you knew, okay, well, this was what was written if I would have stayed on that same path. So because I channeled into the future and saw that, okay, well, crap, my January is going to be really rough. Well, I made it so it wasn't rough. You were given that information. So just because it doesn't fall exactly as what it stated doesn't mean it wasn't accurate. You actually took the ability to change your path. So that's a good way too. But like I said, it's excellent for really checking how you're doing with conversing with spirits, of course, with your channeling and your intuition, because this is all working together. And it's very similar almost to think about, you can do this with horoscopes as well for the month ahead, which is, even if you know nothing about horoscopes, take something like this with the Wheel of the Year, or with all the different ones, and just for January, you can just try things different and say, okay, so for January, I'm going to put this on Aries. Okay, well, let's get a message for January for, people who are Aries. And okay, let's try Cancer. And you just keep going, and whatever little messages you get, what's really neat about that is, so you've just done like a horoscope for the month of January kind of thing, or you can do it for the next week, and then see, check, do a Google search and check for what other people have channeled or written down or forecasted for that time period for the horoscopes. See how close you are. That's another intuition exercise. So this is really a lot of fun stuff. It has to do with time traveling or journeying. You're journeying in the future to get messages about what's going to happen. And there's so much more that we can do, with time travel and journeying. With shamanism, I do a lot of time traveling in the past, even past lives. Not so much in the future, but we can do so much when we do that. You can try, who was this? Is it Ivy? Oh, one of the mentors. One of them, if I can remember who. But there was a wonderful lady over in England who had, for time traveling in the future exercise. And she said, at night, when you're going to sleep, practice time traveling 10 minutes to the next morning, 10 minutes before your alarm goes off, and wake yourself up, as you're sitting there and you're journeying to the future to tomorrow morning, 10 minutes before your alarm goes off. Shake or try to wake yourself up. Actually, I don't know if you can shake yourself. Yeah, not really. And, try to do something to wake yourself up. And then in the morning, see if you wake up 10 minutes before your alarm clock. So that's another great one, and I have to remember who that was. But I think that's about it, guys. So try this. It's a pretty good intuition exercise. See what your January is going to entail. Write it down and visit it again at the end of the month. Okay, thank you guys. See you later.